delivery story. It's fairly long. I'll try and keep it simple. But I might have to do it in 2 parts. Yeah, but I'll try not to because it might get too boring. Right, so to start with, I thought I was in labour pretty much every day from about 38 weeks onwards, just because, you know, first baby, I was every single twinge was, oh, is this labour, you know? But generally it was either cramp or wind, as I'm sure most first time mums will be able to relate. But I'd say labour for me properly started on the Wednesday. I was 39 weeks and 4 days, I think, or I don't quote me on that, I can't properly remember, but yeah, it started on the Wednesday and I had my show, which was pretty grim, really. Yeah, there's nothing pretty about that. Of course, at that point I thought, oh right, that'll be it, I'll be in labour in, you know, within the next couple of days. And when it got to about Saturday and nothing was happening, I was gutted, because I was due on the Sunday. And that came and went, Sunday came and went, as most due dates do, but every day I was getting kind of more and more show, if that makes sense. So it started off as, you know, not a lot, and then like every day was more and more, and it was actually pretty grim. So I phoned up triage on the Sunday, and they said, oh no, that's perfectly fine, you know, we're not interested, yeah, just carry on really. So I thought, oh, okay, that's fine. And by this point, you know, my due date had came and went, and I just kind of decided that I was gonna have him overdue and I was gonna have to be induced, and that was it really. So I was pretty let down and upset, but yeah, not for long really, because the Monday excuse me, the Monday morning, I woke up at about 7 in the morning with quite faint like tightenings, and I thought, oh okay, it's Braxton Hicks. Went back to sleep because I probably had some, you know, bad night's sleep the night before. Decided to have a lay-in, and then I woke up again at I think 9 o'clock, and I thought, hang on a minute, I've been having these on and off since 7. Could this be it, kind of thing? And I kind of decided that it wasn't, just because I didn't want to get my hopes up. But right up until about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, I was having these tightenings 8 minutes apart, like as clockwork. Regular as clockwork, I was having 8 minutes apart, and they were getting slightly stronger. And then I said to Jamie, do you know what, I think this might actually be it now. And even he was kind of, no, it can't be, you know, blah blah blah, it will it'll fade, or you know, whatever. And then we ordered a takeaway actually, at about 7 o'clock that evening, and I just said to Jamie halfway through our lovely dinner, I just said, do you know what, this is it, I need to go to hospital, I'm in a lot of pain. And then we phoned my birthing partner, which is my stepmum, and she said, you know, are you sure, is this it? Because our hospital is about half an hour's drive away, so it's quite a long way to just be told, you know, no, go home, kind of thing. So yeah, we eventually, I think it was by about 9 o'clock, we decided, right, okay, we need to go. So yeah, we went to the hospital, and they gave me the horrible news of, no, sorry, you're only 1 centimetre. But I was in proper agony, and they didn't really understand why. For, you know, quite early labour, I was in loads and loads of pain. It came on quite quickly actually in the car ride. It was, you know, I needed pain relief, and I'm not really that much of a wimp when it comes to pain. I thought, you know, I'd be able to manage. But yeah, it was really bad, and I was quite surprised for some reason. Labour hurt. I was shocked. Yeah, so they decided to keep me in, which I'm so glad they did, and they gave me pethidine, and that was about 10 o'clock, which I really got on with. Some women really just don't get on with pethidine, but I did. It sent me away with the fairies, and I managed to sleep until about midnight, I think. I got to sleep, and then they gave me another load of pethidine. Oh, actually, it might have been a bit later than that because it's 4 hours apart. Yeah, and then I went to sleep again, and then woke up at 5 in the morning, and each time they were getting stronger, but I was so tired I slept through it. So yeah, I think it was about 5 in the morning. They said to me, you can't have any more pethidine, and they examined me again, and I was I think 2 centimetres by this point, and I was gutted. I was absolutely mortified that I'd gone through now 24 hours of regular contractions, and yeah, I was only 2 centimetres. Sorry, my hair's really winding me up. Yeah, so, but at that point it was quite weird really, because they said to me, you need to go as long as you can without pain relief, and which I kind of could do, and then they, you know, the midwives went off and everything, and I was stood there, and I felt what I thought was a pop in my tummy, and I was expecting this gush of water because my waters hadn't gone at this point, like up until now they hadn't gone. So I called the midwife back and I said, I think my waters have gone, because also with that pop there was an even stronger contraction, and she had a look and she said, no, they haven't gone, and I just said to her, well, yes they have. I told the woman, I just went, yes they have, I'm in incredible pain now, and from that point onwards is nearly a blur, because that was when the contractions really kicked in, and I don't remember how, but Jamie and my stepmum, I'll call her mum, Jamie and my mum came in. I don't remember how they got there actually, and I decided that I wanted more pain relief, but I was only 2 centimetres, and I don't know if it's the same with all hospitals, but our hospital was, you had antenatal and then delivery, and they put you up to delivery either if there's complications or if you're 4 centimetres, and there was neither with me, so they said, no, you can't go to delivery yet, and yeah, I was kind of a bit angry about that. So I told them that I needed to go to delivery, and I was ordering them. I'm quite mortified actually. And at that point the head midwife came down, because I was making such a fuss, and I must have scared the other ladies stupid, and yeah, she came down and she just said, oh, we'll get you a bottle, like a canister thing of Entonox, and you can have that, because they didn't have gas and air for some reason. Actually, that's a bit odd in an antenatal, but yeah, they had to get a bottle from A&E, I think, and yeah, I had that, and that did help, but it was kind of I had to, like, I can't remember, but properly, but I in my head I knew that the more I had, the more sick I was going to be, because I felt really sick with it. Yeah, so I had that, and then like just projectile vomited everywhere. I don't know how, but Jamie managed to catch it, and then they were monitoring Jacob as well with the bands that obviously go round, and they couldn't get his heartbeat properly, so they were quite concerned that you know, I was moving about and flailing and throwing myself everywhere, and they couldn't get a proper reading of his heartbeat, so they were getting pretty worried. I didn't know any of this at that point. Yeah, and the head midwife basically said, right, she's going up to delivery, clear a space, and the first I knew of that was when I was being transferred on a wheelchair, being sent up. So yeah, and when I got into the antenatal, into the delivery room. They took my gas and air away from me, and I was absolutely mortified. And I just said, I want an epidural, give me an epidural. Yeah, and then the anaesthetist came in, gave me the epidural, and yeah, that worked for about 2 hours. Meanwhile, I was absolutely dripping with sweat. The room was absolutely boiling. I think they had the heating on or something, and this was, you know, end of July, right in the middle of all that hot weather. And yeah, all of my cannulas, I've still got like scars from the cannulas. I think they tried 8 times to get cannulas in, and they kept sliding out because of me being so hot. I was sweating and that, and they were just sliding out. So yeah, that wasn't pretty. I don't remember any of that. This is all what Jamie and my mum have told me. Yeah, and then I started to feel like, I can only describe as a burning sensation downstairs, and they kept like upping the epidural because I said, you know, I'm in real pain here, what's going on? Well, I didn't say it, I screamed it over and over again. And I decided in my mind that it was the, what's it called, the catheter. I just decided that there was something wrong, and I said that needs to come out. I'm gonna take it out. There's something wrong, I can feel it. And the anaesthetist kept doing the cold spray. You know, they spray your legs with like a cold spray, and if you can feel it, then they know that the epidural's not working. If you can't feel it, then they know that it is working. So she was spraying me with this ice cold spray, like on my arms to show me that it was cold, and then she'd spray it on my legs and I couldn't feel it. So she couldn't understand why, you know, I couldn't feel this spray, but I was feeling pain, because, you know, that would mean that the epidural wasn't working. Anyway, so yeah, I think they got some expert in, I don't know, but they pulled someone out of theatre to come and check me over. Now, I'm normally a kind of person that doesn't like to make much of a fuss about anything. So to have all these people getting pulled from, you know, left, right and centre from their jobs, oh, it was horrible. But obviously at the time I didn't care. Yeah, and there was this midwife who, she kept calling me Gabriella, you know, which I don't like my full name anyway, which is Gabriella. And she kept saying, you know, Gabriella, and the poor woman, I just snapped at her. I just said, you know, my name is not effing Gabriella. Call me Gabby. And yeah, she just stayed silent after that. Oh, I felt so guilty. I feel guilty now. I wish I knew her name. I'd send her a card. So yeah, and when this expert came up from theatre, she came over and examined me, and at this point they still couldn't get a proper reading of Jacob's heartbeat. Again, I didn't know any of this, otherwise, you know, I'm so glad they didn't tell me. I don't know how I wasn't aware of it not going on, but yeah, they put a clip on his head for about half an hour. That worked, and then they that stopped working. That stopped reading his heartbeat, and at that point I was aware. I was right. Okay, so what's going on? You know, what's wrong with my baby, kind of thing. Why hasn't he got a heartbeat? You know, it's any mum's worst nightmare to hear, you know, your baby has not got a heartbeat right now. You know, you just think, oh God, what on earth? You know, so I was going to swear then. Yeah, so they were, you know, faffing about with this clip thing, you know, faffing about with the machine and that, because it's not even like there was a little bit of a reading, there was just nothing. And they kept talking about sending me to theatre. And then one of the women looked at the anaesthetist, because the anaesthetist was still there, and she actually swore at her, and she said, can you not do your effing job? It was unplugged, and this machine, this clip thing was actually, it was clipped in something else, which was clipped onto me. I don't know the ins and outs properly, but yeah, it had just come unclipped. And yeah, so that was fairly unprofessional, I'd say. Yeah, and at that point I was absolutely screaming in agony. The epidural still wasn't working properly, and then they examined me and they said, oh, okay, that's why you're in so much pain, you're 10 centimetres. So yeah, literally as soon as they said that, I was, oh, okay. And I just had this overwhelming urge to push. You know, no one told me to, it was just happening. I was pushing. And then, like, in between pushes, I heard someone say, oh, okay, that's why it's not working. And it turned out that the epidural line had actually slid out of my back. The whole lot had just slid out of my back. There was nothing in there at all. Because I was so hot, it had just slid out. Yeah, because of all the sweat, basically. Yeah, so I think I only pushed about 3 or 4 times. And apparently he went from crowning by about that much to completely out. So yeah, it was that much. I pushed and he was completely out. So yeah, and then he was born at 8:04 p.m. and he was £7 12 ounces. And when he was born, he let out a little squeak to let us know that everything was fine. And then yeah, and then he laid on me, obviously, and yeah, he didn't scream at all until we came home, actually. So yeah, that was my labour and delivery story. Let me know what you think in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you.